Woo! What's going on, guys? Almost fun coming at you guys today with another video. Today's video, it's a somber one. Aftermath NFC Championship game. Detroit Lions at the San Francisco 49ers. Detroit Lions lose a heartbreaker here, guys. 31-34. You know, a second half meltdown of epic proportions sends these Detroit Lions packing back home. No Super Bowl for the Detroit Lions. And it was a rough one. I thought it was a very rough game on the way they lost this football game. But let's go talk about some injuries and stats and all that. For Detroit Lions, they are the road team, so we go with them first. Didn't really notice. I was at a bar watching this game because I was doing a podcast at the 519 Beer House. And I don't recall too many injuries going down. I was kind of worked up. I was just fired up watching this game. I remember linebacker Derek Barnes did go down for a significant amount of time. I think it was Barnesy. Don't know what the injury was. I know they were attending to him, but other than that, I don't recall any Detroit Lions. I know I kind of looked up the injuries that happened for the 49ers. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw had a stinger. He returned, though. Wide receiver Jawan Jennings had a concussion. He returned as well. And cornerback Ambry Thomas had an ankle. He was probably the worst one. And then I think running back Christian McCaffrey, CMC, he did have a stinger too. He went down awkwardly a little bit later in that game and came out, and Elijah Mitchell scored a touchdown. But I guess he's okay, good to go for the Super Bowl. Now the stats. Detroit Lions first. Quarterback Jared Goff, who I thought played a pretty good game. Wasn't perfect, but he was 25 for 41 at 60.9% completion percentage. 273 yards, a touchdown, 0 interceptions, and a couple sacks. Sacked a couple times. And we'll talk about his play, but it wasn't too bad. He missed a couple throws though, but he also had quite a few drops. And we'll get on that. And then rushing, running back David Montgomery had 15 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown on 6.2 yards per carry. He was running well. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs was 12 for 45 and a touchdown as well. 3.8 yards per carry. And then wide receiver Jamison Williams, one carry, 42 yards and a touchdown, 42 yards per carry. And beautiful end around and kept his balance. Nice little stiff arm. Get the ball in his hands next year, guys, please. We'll talk about that too. The receiving, tight end Sam Laporta had a really nice day. Had 9 catches for 97 yards, 10.8 yards a catch, 13 targets. He was the main guy. Wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown had 7 catches for 87 yards at 12.4 yards a catch on 11 targets. Wide receiver Jamison Williams had two catches for 25 yards and a touchdown, a late one, 12.5 yards a catch on 3 targets. And wide receiver Josh Reynolds, 1 catch for 25 yards, couple drops, 25 yards a catch. He was only targeted 4 times, 2 drops, 2 major ones, two big drops. And then running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 for 11, 3.7 yards a catch, and targeted 6 times. Couldn't really get the going in the receiving department. And then Monty ended up having like 20 yards himself on a couple catches as well. And then the defense, linebacker Alex Anzalone. That defense played fantastic in the first half, by the way. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, 9 tackles. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, 6 tackles and a nice interception. And a stupid penalty on C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Linebacker Jack Campbell had 7 tackles. Cornerback Kendall Vildor had 6 tackles. Ball bouncing off his face mask and a big completion. There was a penalty anyways, but the ball was at like the 5-yard line, I believe. They were about to score. With the penalty, it would have been further back if you didn't catch it, but it was still going to be a big gain. And free safety, Kirby Joseph had 6 tackles. Defensive tackle, Tyson Alu had 4 tackles and a half sack. Then strong safety, Ifeatu Malafanu, 3 tackles and a half a sack as well. The defensive tackle, Lee McNeil, had 2 tackles and a sack. 2, he got the Purdy. Hutchinson didn't do much. He did have a couple pass deflects. That's really about it. Maybe a tackle, but he didn't do much. And 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, he was 20 for 31 on 64.5% completion percentage. Couldn't get going in the first half. Second half is where he did all his damage. 267 yards, touchdown. Was picked off once and sacked a couple times. Rushing the ball, running back Christian McCaffrey, he was 20 for 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.5 yards a carry. Most damage that a running back has done to us all year. I was worried about that, and it didn't happen. Quarterback Brock Purdy had 5 carries for 48 yards. All of a sudden he became this runner. We couldn't bottle him up in this game, especially late in the game. 9.6 yards a carry. The running back Elijah Mitchell had 4 carries for 7 yards, but he had a touchdown on 1.8 yards a carry. And then receiving, wide receiver Deebo Samuel had 8 catches for 89 yards, 11.1 yards a catch, 9 targets. He was their main guy. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk had 3 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown, 22.7 yards a catch, 8 targets. Running back CMC, 4 catches for 42 yards, 6.5 yards a catch on 5 targets. Not a ton of damage by the wide receivers. We saw Sutton get burned a few times, but they did most of their damage on the ground. They did most of their damage on the ground, it felt like, and they got in the end zone 3 times on the ground, so that hurt them. And then defensive-wise, linebacker Fred Warner had 13 tackles. Safety, the rookie Jair Brown had 10 tackles. Safety Tayshaun Gibson, 6 tackles and a forced fumble. He might have even recovered that ball himself, I don't remember. Cornerback Ambry Thomas, 6 tackles. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw, 7 tackles. Cornerback Diamador Lenoir had 5 tackles. And then defensive end Nick Bosa had 3 tackles and a couple sacks to his name as well. Now, talk to Lions offense, talk to San Fran offense and defense, both squads. Hey, man, this was a game. This game stings. This game really stings. This was a great year. I'm not going to rip apart this team right now. I'm still kind of in shock. We were up 24-7 going into the third quarter. We had a 17-point deficit, man. 17-point lead. I think it tied. It either tied or it's the new record for the NFC Championship game, blowing it. That's us. Detroit Lions right there. We blew it. We blew this game. We looked like a juggernaut coming out. 3 rushing touchdowns, kicked the field goal, held that offense to 7 points in the first half. They missed a field goal. Then Moody missed a 40-something yard field goal. And then the second half, it was a completely different team. Both ends. The Lions forgot how to tackle. The Lions were dropping passes. Lucky bounces going the San Francisco 49er way. Dan Campbell turning into Dan Gambler and, making some judgments. I'm not going to rip apart Dan Campbell here. I don't think it's his fault that we lost his football game. People want to say, well, you left 6 points on the field. I understand all that. I'm seeing different breakdowns of this kicker that we have, Michael Badgley, where he's good from this area. He's good from outside. He's not good on the outside. 45 yards and up. He struggles. Then I get to see another graphic where he's hit 61% of his 45-yarders. I don't know who's telling the truth here, man. And then you go and you look at it. You go and try and find all these. You just go trying to find his stats, okay? Go trying to find Badgley's stats, and it's like he is an 82% kicker. That's not a lie. He's been an 82% kicker for most of his career. He has been that great at kicking 50-yarders. He has hit them, though. He went, I think his average, I'm just going to throw a ballpark number out here. I could be completely wrong, but it was like 48 attempts at 40-yarders, and he's hit like 34 of them, 35 of them maybe. That's not that bad. But you see all these graphics of certain elements, nighttime, 40-plussers, 61%, 33%, 42%. You just see all these different graphics. And I don't have a problem with what Campbell did. What he did was the reason why we're here. Okay? He went forward in the LA game with the big 4th and 2. Went for a touchdown to Laporta. He did it in the Kansas City Chiefs game at the beginning of the year, throwing doing a fake punt. He just gambles. He did it in the Buccaneers game, going for it, scored a touchdown, so on and so forth. He's been doing this for 3 years. It's one of those things where you can't pick and choose when you like him or not. Because you're going to love him when it works, but you're going to hate him when it doesn't. You can't do it. You just got to go with it. I mean, well, you can do what you want to do, but it's not, I don't think it's fair. This team is heavy on analytics, very heavy on analytics. Brad Holmes uses analytics when he's drafting guys, especially athleticism. He likes to see those guys that are very, very high, that are in the green, skied upwards, that are very athletic, and you see all those metrics that they're in the green and they're athletic. He likes to use those metrics. Dan Campbell's the same. He's going to use those metrics, and he's going to live and die by the sword. And if you want to pick and choose when you can like him, that is really up to you. I just don't think it's I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair because you just can't, like, he's doing it no matter what. People are out there saying you can't do this in the playoffs. That I saw Woodward Sports put something out where they said, hey man, he's not going to change. He's not going to all of a sudden become less aggressive. He's going to become this guy that doesn't go for all of a sudden the playoffs. It's not going to work like that. Josh Reynolds dropped an easy first down right in his hands, bounced right off his hands. He had two major drops. He had a big drop on a third down. That would have been for a longer gain. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a drop. J-Mo had a drop. I think Laporta had a drop. Like, there was a few drops. There was 4 or 5 drops. And I'm not blaming those guys fully for this loss. I think it's a team loss. They melted down the second half. It was a meltdown. It was a pure meltdown. Campbell not kicking the field goal, not giving his guy at least an attempt. Okay? I'm not going to say that Campbell is blameless. He's not. He's got to take some shoulder. He's got to shoulder some of the blame. He really does. But what the hell's Aaron Glenn doing? Not making adjustments. Like, San Fran was in the dirt. They were done. They came out firing in the second half. We did hold them to a field goal, but then after that, it was done. Adjustments. Ben Johnson, I think he called a good game. I think there were some drops there. I think Goff did miss a few throws. Lost my throat because I was screaming. But, Goff really missed that one throw to Gibbs in the end zone, which was humongous. He was wide open. I don't remember what we did there. I don't remember if we went for it or kicked the 21. Did we kick a field goal? I don't even remember. But he was wide open. He was wide open, man, and I don't think we got a touchdown on that drive. It's disappointing, man. I would rather lose 40-10 like we did 32 years ago against the Washington, called the Redskins then, but they're the Commanders now. But I would rather lose 40-10 than watch that garbage. Because when they're up 24-7, you're like, man, this feels good. And I remember saying to my buddy, we're up by 17, we're at the bar, and I'm like, man, something don't feel right. Something don't feel right, man. I go, this is too easy. This is much too easy right now. Everybody's like, what are you doing, man? What are you talking about, man? Give me 2, whatever you're on. One of those, right? And I'm just like, no, man. I go, this is great. Don't get me wrong. This is great. But something was weird. Something was weird about it, man. And trust me, I'm no conspiracy theorist. I don't think, there's already videos out that the Lions threw this game, by the way. Go on TikTok. There's some schmuck out there saying that the Lions threw the game. All of a sudden, we're dropping balls. But it was all true. We were dropping balls second half, missing tackles, botched. There was a botched punt. Jack Fox beautifully punted a ball that should have been down at the 1-yard line. I don't know who it was. I don't remember who it was. Was it Campbell? I think it was Jack. I don't think Jack Campbell's on special teams. It was number 40 something. It could have been Campbell, but I don't think he does special teams. But He should have downed it right at the 1 yard line, and he got his foot in the end zone, and just, the ball's back at the 25 yard line. So just everything was going wrong for the Lions in the second half. It was very strange. It was a complete epic meltdown of crazy proportion. It was just a meltdown. It was just an absolute meltdown. 17-point lead, guys. 17-point lead. There's no way we should lose that game. We should be talking about Super Bowl. And I love this team. We're young. Like, we were a top 5 young team, I think. I think 2 years ago, 2022, we were like the youngest team in the NFL. That's might have bumped up a little bit now, but we're still crazy young. We're still very, very young. Our oldest guy it might be Goff at 29. It might be Goff. I don't know. I'm not sure how old Romeo is. But we're extremely young. Decker is up there, I would think. Yeah, Vitae. You got released though, right? Or did Vitae get? No, the Vitae's still on the team, I think, just on IR. There's a few guys, man. You know, Sutton might be a little bit up there, 28, 29. But we're not old. We're not an old team. You know, and then even on that interception, too. Even on that interception, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. How big of an idiot is this guy? This guy goes out there and he tries to sucker Debo after the play. Debo's just kind of looking around, and then C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes up from the side and bang, runs right into him. I think he knocked him down. He might have. I don't know. 15-yard penalty. So we get pushed back. You know, he's getting kind of raked through the coals, and he kind of deserves it. I like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but man, you let them get to you. You let Debo, whatever he was saying to you during the game, he got to you, bro. He got you, and you got in your feelings. It was just a meltdown. It was that was in the first half, though, I believe. That interception, I believe, was in the first half. It was just a great first half, man. It's shocking still. I'm still kind of in shock. Like, I'm in shock of how it happened. Like, I don't want to use the terms SOL, but I'm kind of going to. It felt like an SOL type loss. Go up big and then lose by a little. Go up big, lose by a little. My wife was just saying it too. She's like, baby, it was kind of just like the Lions of old. You know, your Lions would be doing well. They'd be playing good football in the first half. Then they'd come back out in the second half and they would shit the bed. And I'd be like, kinda. Yeah, that's kind of like it was. Yeah, you're right, baby. Good job. You know what I mean? Like, make a video. So it was just a rough loss, man. It's just a rough loss. I thought Jameson Williams played fantastic. Laporta, Amon-Ra doing his thing. J-Mo, yes. And like I said, Gibbs getting in the end zone. Monty running well. Goff did play well. He did miss a couple throws, but he played good. Nothing great. He was barely 61% completion percentage. That's not what you want him to be. You want him to be higher than that. But he's not the reason why we lost this game. The defense was in the second half. The defense, the drop passes, the botched punt coverage, the lucky bounce, which was a penalty, by the way, but it doesn't matter. It moved him up because he did catch it. Ayuk made a crazy concentration catch that you would never see in a million years. You would never be able to duplicate that garbage in 100 tries. Ball's thrown deep, and Purdy overthrows Brandon Ayuk. Well over. Kindle Vildor has already got the flag. The flag's already there, so it's already going to be a big first down for San Fran. It goes between his face mask, boom, bounces off, the ball bounces in the air. Ayuk then makes this crazy diving catch. And the ball was like spotted at I believe it was inside the 10. I forget where it was exactly. It might have been even inside the 5, but it was right there. And they scored a touchdown like in 2 plays later. I believe that was the Mitchell touchdown. I could be wrong. But anyways, it was just a crazy game, man. It was just a crazy game, a heartbreaker. This one's going to sting. This one's going to stew for a bit. You know, and I've had these kind of the type of games too where it stews. So, you know, but the channel's not over, guys. This is where I start getting into college football now. This is where I start getting into the draft with players, individual players. I'm going to start doing some study ups, start watching those all 22s, start watching some video, grab the magazines, get all out there. and concentrate on some football from the college level that the guys are coming into the NFL draft. So that's what I kind of do now. And I'll try. I might come up with. I might do a couple more Lions things. Obviously, everything's going to be based around the Lions. If you're new to my channel, I really appreciate it. But that's what's pretty much coming next is college stuff. Some college stuff. I might talk about some Detroit Lions. We might hear some things, man. We got lots of rumors going around. Ben Johnson probably leaving. I think he's taking that Washington job. Don't quote me on it, but I think he is. You know, you got Aaron Glenn out there still taking interviews. I don't think he's going anywhere. There's Tanner Engstrand. That's Ben Johnson's right hand man, who I think should be the next OC in Detroit. Who's taking interviews to be an OC in Philly. He's got one lined up in New England. So he's got a couple going on there. There's possibilities we could be losing Hank Fraley. There's rumors about Scotty Montgomery leaving. You know, there's going to be lots of change. We got free agents. We pick guys up still. It's going to be interesting to see what this team does because there's a lot of free agents on this team. We got a lot of money coming up, a lot of money off the books, maybe more with some cuts and all this stuff. So we got lots of Lions stuff. We got some college football. We got some college draft. It's pretty much the college NFL / draft. That's what that is. So I appreciate it, guys. It was a great season, man. We won the division, 12 wins, 14 wins overall, including those 2 playoff wins. Man, a couple All-Pros, bunch of Pro Bowlers. Things are looking up in Detroit, guys. Head up. Brad Holmes is doing things here. Dan Campbell doing things here. Don't be so hard on Campbell, man. Seriously. He's not the reason why we lost this game. Does he take a little bit of that blame? Does he shoulder some of that blame? 100% he does. But he's not the sole reason. He's really not. Live and die by the sword, and that's how he rolls, and he's not going to change for anybody. He's not changing for you, me, to make us all feel comfortable. This is the way he is, bro. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right. Up top, go and hit that bell and get the notifications. Like, comment, share this out. Appreciate it, guys. Season's over, but the channel ain't over. Let's go, guys. One pride, Detroit versus everybody. Boom, let's go, baby. Bam.